So usually the way that we want to start breaking a game down is the following. So since we play on a lane and we're not jungle, we want to break down our laning phase. So like our lane. In this case, it is 2v2, right?
Yep.
And the way I do it is the following. So in this case, we go for Xayah, Soraka, and then we go enemy bot lane, which is going to be Lucian, and Morgana. So here the way I like to go with the whole thing is first of all identify what kind of trades does the champion ideally want to go for. Okay. After we get to identify this, we go for the abilities to describe what exactly they do, the main things that we care about those abilities. And then we go ahead and break down the combos that they usually go for. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So here, for example, for Xayah, like the majority of the ADCs, she likes to go, ideally wants to go for long extended trades. So like in League, we have three kind of trades. We have long extended, we have short burst, and we have poke trades. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know this already.
So you agree with this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So here, do you think Xayah could potentially go for any other kind of trades besides long extended?
Can go for burst trades as well.
But can also go for short burst trades. Do you think poke trades will be something that Xayah will be looking out for frequently?
Not really. Like her Q has a long cooldown or something. Not very efficient.
Perfect. Right,
Costs
here
a lot of
about
mana, I think.
Here about Xayah, I don't remember every single one of her abilities, what they do, or like which ones they are. So this is the ability where she gets to throw. So Q is medium range AoE damage. W is bonus attack speed, movement speed. So MSAS boost. By MSAS, basically movement speed and attack speed, right? Just having it short.
Yeah.
E is damage if I'm not mistaken, so damage and CC. Actually, AoE damage CC, since she is pulling the feathers, right?
Yeah.
And ultimate is AoE damage in, how was this called? Untargetable, let's say, actually. Untargetability. Like, just simply targetable. Let me go for Soraka. Soraka doesn't really go ahead and trade because she's an enchanter, right? But let's say
I do trade a
ideal.
lot with her.
I mean, she doesn't really go that
Yeah, but
often
she's
for trades, right? Like, but she of course can do something. And here, what she
she's
can do? Go ahead.
she's a poke basically.
Mm-hmm.
No extended trade, no burst trade.
So,
Just poke mostly.
Soraka ideally wants to go for poke trades, but can sometimes go for short burst. It can sometimes go. Would you
Yeah,
agree with
I can
this?
use my combo usually is Q, auto attack, E, and auto attack, something like that.
But can sometimes go for short burst trades, right? So Q is self heal, AoE damage slow. So the reason why I don't put this first is because the heal is not AoE. Does that make sense? So here we just
Yeah.
give the thing which is separate, and then when we have something AoE wise, we just put it AoE, and then everything that is being done with AoE. In this case, damage and slow. Make sense?
Mhm.
W heal for teammates, E silence, or like AoE actually, AoE silence root, and R AoE heal. Right?
Yep.
AoE global heal in this case. Global heal. Uh, let's go here for the trades as well. She usually goes for the following trades. So, what kind of trades does Zaya usually go for, in your opinion? What does a usual trade from her side look like?
Either medium or long trade or long trade. Like she spams her auto attack to make as much service as possible and then uses her E to finish it up.
So, what exactly I mean by this is the combo that she goes for. Like,
Combo
let's say,
usually,
she goes for auto plus Q, or she goes auto W
Q,
into Q, or something like this, and then E and auto auto, and so on. Something like this.
yeah. Usually Q, a bunch of autos,
Okay,
and
so Q. Auto,
when
would
we
you say
try
like
to run
one
away,
auto, two autos, ideally?
as many autos as she can, and then finish it up with E.
Mm-hmm. So let's say two autos, or like let's say auto, and then let's not forget W, right? Because W is very important in this case. It is enhancing
Well,
those
don't.
auto attacks. Because
It's a
remember,
mobility spell, no?
it is mobility and it is bonus attack speed,
Oh well,
right?
she most likely will use it, man.
Sorry?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just a auto attack
Uh,
speed.
I, I was not able to understand what exactly you meant.
No, nothing. It's like not the main damage ability. It's just a
Yeah, just an
supplementary skill.
enhancement,
Yeah.
right? And then would you say how many autos afterwards? Like two, three, four before she goes for E? Usually we're
Uh,
talking about, right? Not very situational, but like 80% of the time what she goes for.
well, three is a safe.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's say three,
Yeah.
right? Plus E, and then just autos afterwards, right? She doesn't really have anything else because then every single one of her abilities at this point are on cooldown, correct?
Yeah. That's true.
Do you think she goes for any other kind of combo? Any other kind of variation of her combo?
That's the whole combo.
Yes, I would say she goes. Sometimes she can start as well with W to get a couple of feathers out, then go for the Q and then pull with E. But this is pretty much a variation of this combo, if that makes sense. Like she basically starts with this, like those two Q and W basically get to trade places to some extent. That
Yeah.
makes
Well,
sense.
I haven't seen her use any other combos besides that.
Yeah. It's just this is a possible option, but because it is not a very big difference compared to this combo, right? Because we'll
Yeah.
basically get this part and we move it at the front, and this goes here, right?
Yeah.
And then everything else afterwards is the same. So that's why we will not put it here in this case. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now the combo of Soraka, it's obviously it's nothing crazy. Soraka is one of the simplest champions in the game. So we'll go, she usually goes for the following actually combo. I was supposed to type here. That is my bad, maybe I confused you.
Hmm.
Combos. And here, what exactly would you say will the usual combo look like?
Key, you auto attack. It doesn't matter which order it goes.
So just let's say Q, E, auto attack afterwards, right? And then
Yeah.
eventually just W on our teammate, right? Like that will be something very casual, very mm, frequent thing that we'll see from a Soraka player, correct? As a combo.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there is no special combo that you can
Yeah,
do here.
it's pretty much just that, right? And here we want
Yeah.
to do the same thing. So ideally wants to go for what traits here as well, would you say so? Do you think it is the same as Zaya's? Like the kind of traits that he likes to go
No,
for, or do you think it's different?
he can go for different combos.
No. I'm talking about the kind of traits, not combos in this case. Combos will be at the end.
Oh,
But like the traits here, see?
Yeah, he does burst trade.
Will the burst trade be more beneficial for him compared to an extended trade? What do you think? Which one will be
Yeah,
like rank one, let's say?
it's way better for Lucian to make burst trade than for Zaya.
We are not really, okay, so we're not comparing right now as to what Zaya wants to do ideally compared to, or like better compared to Lucian. We just
Okay.
go for, if Lucian had two options and he will be able to go only for long extended trades or only for short burst trades, which one do you think is going to be more beneficial for him?
A burst trade would be more beneficial,
Would you be
I
sure?
think.
Do you know what his passive does?
Uh, what does it do?
So after he uses an ability, he's able to pull off two auto attacks,
Yeah, I know that.
right? So let's say Lucian would go for, let's say, an auto Q, auto E, auto W, auto, and then just auto attacks afterwards, right?
Yeah,
Would you
yeah.
say this is a long extended, or would you say this is a short burst trade?
I'm not sure. Like after his combo is done, he, he can't use his passive anymore. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say it's more like short burst, in my opinion. I mean, he has cooldowns and stuff.
Yes, correct. A short burst will kind of look like a bit more, let's say, like Zaya's when she goes for Q, for Q, maybe like an auto on two afterwards, with W, empowered with W, and then go for the E, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like a short burst shoot will be something that takes you 2 to 3 seconds, while a long extending will be something which is going to be 5 plus.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense now? For
Yeah.
example, mages really like to go for short burst trades, right? Because let's say Takasa didn't goes for Q ultimate auto W and then he backs away, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or Gragas goes for EQ auto and then he backs away,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
right?
yeah.
So this is
Oh, yeah.
what. Uh huh.
He can go for extended trades, but only after level 3.
Who?
Lucian.
Uh huh. Perfect, right? This is very good to know.
Yeah.
So ideally wants to go for long extended trades, but can, so basically here it's the same actually like Zaya. So let's just get to copy paste that here, because obviously both of them are IDCs. It's pretty much the same in
Mm-hmm.
this case. And here then we go Q. Q is AOE damage. W is just movement speed boost. Let's say it doesn't really matter that much about the damage that he does with W because it's almost like
It
nothing.
restarts his passive.
Yeah, he's, in this case actually you're right. We can put his passive here at the front. Passive, so just passive, um, double AA after ability use. So Q AoE damage, W movement speed boost.
If you're serious about ranking up and feel stuck, forgivengbloodcoaching.com is the right place for you. You can be assured with high quality coaching, many options to choose from, flexible work hours, and because we believe in what we do, we offer a money back guarantee if you fail to reach your goals while actively following our guidance. Don't believe me? Check out the results and what our students have to say. So what are you waiting for? Try this free by clicking the link in the description below and get the run you've always been dreaming of.
E dash R damage, right? Or like let's say medium range damage.
Mm-hmm.
Then he usually goes for the following combo slash combos. So here, what exactly would you say will be the case about his usual combo or combos if he has multiple?
Q auto attack.
Okay, so Q auto attack.
E auto attack.
Oops. E auto attack.
W auto attack.
And afterwards it's pretty much just auto attacks until his Q comes back from cooldown on just one
I'm
ability.
not sure he has cooldowns. Maybe he can use Q again or something.
Yeah, it's just he goes for auto attacks afterwards, and the whole circle gets to be repeated. Does it make sense? It's just
Yeah.
it gets to be like this combo, and then it gets to be repeated again. So, like we don't like in this case to go ahead and just repeat the same abilities. Except this combo, do you think he can go for anything else? He can start in a sort of a different way.
He can start with E
Okay, so E
into auto attack.
into ideally Q or W. What do you think is going to be more beneficial for him?
Think Q, because it
Are you sure?
deals more damage. I
So
don't know.
in this case, why I'm asking you this is because he has used his ability, which in this case is his only mobility spell, which is his E. Do you notice
Oh.
here that he goes for E first and then he goes for W?
Yeah.
If you think about it, this is with the purpose of being able to follow up immediately afterwards. Because if he goes for the Q and then he throws W until he's in the animation and he goes for the auto to be able to utilize another passive auto with his W afterwards, his target is most likely going to be way too far away if they're going to be running away from him. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. It's so he can stick to target.
Exactly, right? And Q can be done at the end to some extent, right?
Yeah, I see.
So so W into auto, then Q into auto, and then it is just auto attacks afterwards once again, right?
Yeah.
And those will be the combos that he usually will be going for. To start with W, it is kind of awkward. It doesn't really fit the champion, and usually he wants to go for the W, what is a bit closer, if that makes sense, right? In both of those cases, as you can see, E goes first, and then W follows up, right? Because if you will dash forwards or like even sideways, most likely your opponent is going to be somewhat closer to you. So W is going to have a higher chance of hitting. Thus, you being able to get the movement speed from this W when you get to hit them.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
Let's copy this. So here, what do you think Morgana ideally wants to go for? Like the ideal kind of trades for Morgana? Short burst,
Just
long
poke.
extending, or poke?
Poke. I wouldn't call it a burst.
Yes, here it's a bit awkward because if she hits the Q, then she simply places W and she backs away.
Or just auto attack.
Yeah, that's possible. Which the Q into W combo is to some extent a short burst because it takes like 4 or 5 seconds for the whole thing to be over. But then she's not really walking up. So
Yeah.
I think poke is going to be more
I mean, a good
viable.
Morgana player would continue auto attacking after she lands and
I mean,
ADC follows them.
to some extent, if you think about it, if she hits W and then if she hits Q and then goes for W, she gets damage on the opponent for free without putting herself in a position where she's gonna take damage back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a very
Yeah.
free way and secure way to keep on trading this way. So the majority of the time they should not really walk up. The majority of the time. Now, if there's going to be kill pressure, of course, walking up and taking some damage to make the kill possible, yes, it is good, but the majority of the cases, no. Here, honestly, doesn't matter in this case. It's a bit awkward, so let's say can go for poke trades, but can also go for short burst trades. Because then like a short burst trade with Morgana, it wouldn't really be an extended, I believe. Because damage gets to be done immediately, will be QW into ultimate immediately.
Okay.
Let's go for abilities. So Q is damage CC, right? W is AoE, AoE damage. E, AP shield, let's call it. CC, or like, what is the exact name for this? Let's see.
Black Shield.
I mean, it's Black Shield, but crowd control immunity. This and CC immunity in this case. CC immunity. R AOE damage. Oops. Damage slow CC, right?
Yeah.
And then we go for this. Quickly copy paste it. What our usual combo will usually look like, or combos for Morgana, in your opinion?
After level 6 or before level 6?
When she will have her three abilities. Ultimate in this case, the reason why I'm not really adding ultimates in those combos is because ultimate gets to be used once in a while. Does that make sense?
Oh,
And it is
yeah.
not the thing that you get to be facing like 90% of the game.
Oh,
Does that make
okay.
sense? While
Yeah,
Q,
makes sense.
W, and E for every single champion are their main abilities. Like the abilities that they use all the time, right? That's why
So
they have
yeah,
a shorter cooldown.
the main combo is Q into W.
Hmm. And potentially
And
afterwards, maybe
but
like 1, 2 autos and maybe plus C at the end, right?
yeah,
Maybe.
if there's an engagement going on.
Yeah, let's say like this. This will be a fairly good idea as to how exactly things look like.
Yeah, like someone gets cut under tower or something.
Exactly, right? But nothing really fancy, nothing else except that.
Yeah.
Now, based on this, starting chronologically from the beginning of the game, level 1 to 3 to 4, going into 6 and so on, how do you think this lane is supposed to be played out?
Hmm. I
Or
don't
would
know,
you like
not
me to
much.
potentially give you my perspective of it so you can
Yeah,
get an idea?
sure. Okay.
Alright, so here, since Morgana is going, so here Morgana is the champion that is going to dictate to some extent how the lane is going to be played. What exactly do I mean by that? Because if her Q hits, then the kill pressure on either you or Zaya is going to be fairly big. Does it make sense? Because
Mm-hmm.
then a bunch of damage comes just at once, right?
Mm-hmm.
This will mean that we will want to play behind the minions as much as possible and make the Q of Morgana to hit as difficult as possible to hit. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Our E in this case is going to be a bit awkward because of Morgana's shield, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this will make things a tiny bit awkward during the landing phase. Uh, holding, not actually holding, but when it comes about you poking with Soraka, you will usually like to go for Morgana, and the reason why I'm saying that is because of this guy's E. But if he's going to be a bit more vulnerable, you can go for the Q on him, so you can force him to use his E. And after his E has been used, you can be looking to focus him a tiny bit more. Like you can use this opportunity because his only mobility spell is on cooldown. You can use this opportunity with Zaya to go ahead and try to kill this guy, or to
Mm-hmm.
get a good trade. Does it make sense? Because
Yeah.
then, if his E is going to be down and Zaya will have a couple of feathers down, she'll be able to hit him with E no problems whatsoever. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
And then you potentially can be looking to combo your E, so your E with Zaya's E, potentially. Or you can go before. Before, it's going to be fine as well, if you will spot an opportunity like that. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So you and Zaya will need to stay behind the minions. You guys, you will ideally like to try and bait this the dash from Lucian before going for a bit more of a significant trade. You can be looking for the poke, but of course you will need to stay close to Zaya, so in case you get collapsed or they try to trade against you, you can be looking to get some help as quickly as possible. Extended trades, you guys should be able to win them because of Zaya feathers, right? So from her Q and from her W, does it make sense? Then being able to pull it into E, this will deal a lot of damage at once, which is going to be great. So basically it will stack up, stack up, stack up, stack up, right? And then
Yeah.
at once a bunch. Sorry?
If she doesn't miss her E, then the damage will be bigger than Lucian's combo.
Sorry?
But
If you can repeat just the last part.
yeah, if Zaya doesn't miss her combo, then we win the trade.
Yes.
But
Right?
if she misses her feathers, then we lose the lane basically.
Correct. And that's why I said that you guys would really like to go for the long extended trades because of the stacking up of the furthers plus into the E. Does it make sense? Because if
Yeah.
we go like an eye for an eye, you guys win. Because the extended trade is better. Plus it is going to be AoE. So if those two guys line up for Zaya E, they'll get both bursted down. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And in this case, it will be much more important for you to stay safer and not take damage compared to Zaya. Because in this case, if you're gonna be able to stay healthy and out of CC or like out of danger for as long as possible, right? You'll be able to just assist the guy so much that the lane is going to be completely free, no issues whatsoever. Make sense?
Okay. Yep.
Right? Because he goes ahead, and the longer he fights, the better it's going to be. You sit at the back while he's tanking. You give heal with W. You give some poke, which is going to be nice. You get the silence for the E. So the whole thing with the E silence is going to be you simply delaying the damage from their side, or making their position awkward, or both at the same time. If you can pull this off, depending on the situation.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Right? Like ideally, that's what you and Zaya would like to be looking out for. The other thing would be you and Zaya would ideally like to have the wave closer towards your side. So let me pull up bot lane lol. There we go. Nice. You and Zaya would ideally, let's say you guys are going to be from blue side, right? Like the two of you are going to be from here. You and Zaya will ideally like to have the wave close to this point, give or take. Does it make sense as to why?
I'm on blue side, right?
Yes, we're going to be blue side in this case, and they're going to be on red side.
I don't know, so we can chase them or something? So we can overextend?
Do you remember that we said that in this lane we would ideally like to be looking for those kind of trades, long extended?
Long trace, yeah.
And how can we achieve them? Like once we understand, okay, we want to be going for X kind of trades. That's what we want to be aiming for, right?
Yeah.
You want to ask yourself immediately afterwards, how can we achieve that? In this case, we can achieve it by freezing the wave here, forcing them to be walking far up on the lane, and then this way we'll have a lot of space here to chase them up to this point, give or take. Does it make sense?
Oh, I see. But her feathers don't go that far.
Yes, but it kind of depends. Like here, it's going to be about hurry. If they stay and they fight this way, then it's going to be like fine for you. Like it's going to be the best case scenario. But even if they want to go ahead and run away, that's still going to be okay.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if you get to be close here, like close to their side, you can pull it off, like the same thing with the feathers, but it's going to be a bit more difficult because back here you have less room to work with. Make sense? Like
Okay,
they can, if they start backing away slightly, they can immediately go to safety, and we get to be in a very awkward spot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? And here in this case, because if you notice, both ADCs are aiming for this ideally. Right? In that case, you want to see who is actually benefiting more from those trades. And in this case, when you see, okay, like we benefit more from them, that's why you want the wave to be here. Because in this case, Lucian would like to go for those trades against Zaya. Because he doesn't win those.
Yeah, I see.
Make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of like saying, since I play Yasuo and you're on the top lane, they go for long exchange trades. Correct? Ideally. But if I play against a Darius, it wouldn't be so smart to go for the long extended. Right? It's the same logic here.
Right? Getting to applies as both, as long as both are even, right? Like if
yes,
someone
of course.
Yeah.
So we are talking about at this point from the perspective as everyone is as even as possible in the game, and they don't have any like special kind of advantage, if that makes sense. They don't have any big advantage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? Because we want to have it from the point where everything is even, so we can see in a fair 2v2 how things should go like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right, so That is the whole point of it. And then getting to identify those abilities, like we said, like for example, Morgana Q gets to dictate quite a few things in this case, and Lucian E, right?
Yeah.
So those two abilities from their side are the most important ones. Then to some extent we can put that how is it called? Morgana E is fairly important as well because it obviously denies your E silence, right? So if
Yeah.
you can also pull this off before the shield goes on, that's going to be nice as well. But otherwise in this lane, there isn't really anything else to talk about. Then about level 6 things slightly to get to change. Right? You guys would like to be a bit more careful from getting CC change from Q of Morgana into the ultimate. Right? Which once again you guys need to stay behind the minions. And then you will need to space a tiny bit better as well in this case, or go in for more aggressive trades when you have an HP advantage or some sort of an advantage. Does that make sense? Because if you guys get to walk up to them when the ultimate from Morgana is going to be up and you're going to be kinda even, it will not really work out that well. Does that make sense? Because she will ult you, you'll be slowed. She can wait for the stun to go off from the ultimate, and no matter if Xayah will go for the ultimate, let's say, she will still get stunned at the end if she will not be able to get out.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So level 6, you guys will need to be a bit more laid back and wait for some sort of an advantage from your side. HP advantage, ability advantage, or something like that. Does that make sense? The more advantages, the better it's going to be. In that case, level 6 plus. Okay?
Okay,
Right? So that's how the laning phase kind of looks like when we get to break it down. Does everything make sense up to this point? How you liking it?
Yeah, everything makes sense.
So then we need to break down the junglers. So in this case, the jungler from our side.
Moving too fast, time for